Because if they were trying to fight for democracy, they'd be open and willing to allow third parties as well to come in so that people can actually have a choice. But the Democrats don't care about choice either. This is one of the reasons why I say this is performative, because they cry when the Republicans do something as far as gerrymandering, but they don't want nobody to cry to them when they try to block Green Party members or third party candidates from getting on the ballot.
Or other Democrat candidates.
Especially ones that are to their left. Okay, so we're going to be talking about Governor Greg Abbott. He is doing something that is getting a lot of buzz right now nationally, even though it's really just state politics. And Governor Greg Abbott's making some threats, and these threats are substantial. So let's get into this, and then I want to get your thoughts initially about this, Sabs, because when I first saw this story, when you showed it to me, I was just like, no way. Is this guy really going to do that? And also, my question is this legal? Is this legal for him to do? So we're going to get into it.
I mean, that was my big question, because I don't even know if what he's trying to do is legal. But yeah. But he's trying to do it.
Excuse my nerd side a little bit, but it kind of reminds me of Star Wars: The Phantom Menace, where the Viceroy goes, "Is that legal?" And Darth Sidious goes, "I'll make it legal."
Oh boy.
Oh, so let's get into this. Let me share the screen, and we shall get into this story. He says, "Rich hypocrisy." What does that mean? We'll find out.
Big story of the day. Texas state lawmakers are set to reconvene Friday. The House, it remains frozen, failing to meet a quorum for the second day as Democrats have fled in order to block redistricting. This all started because Democrats are looking to defend current districts like this, Texas 35. That district was ruled unconstitutional, drawn with discriminatory intent, until ultimately deemed allowed by the Supreme Court. With threats against their cling to power, though, Democrats are screaming all-out war.
This is unconstitutional. This is about standing up for people's voting rights and standing up for black and brown people who are going to be iced out.
Would the state of California move forward in kind, fighting, yes, fire with fire?
This is not the Democratic Party of your grandfather, which would bring a pencil to the knife fight. This is a new Democratic Party. We're bringing a knife to a knife fight, and we are going to fight fire with fire.
That was, among others, Governor Gavin Newsom of California, Governor J.B. Pritzker of Illinois. But joining me now is Governor Greg Abbott of Texas. Governor, great to have you here on the show. You heard the reaction there from some of your fellow governors. What do you say?
Some very rich hypocrisy on their part. There are no states more gerrymandered than California and Illinois and New York. In Illinois, I think they may have maybe 3 congressional seats for Republicans, despite the fact that Trump won more than 40% of the vote there. Same thing applies in states like California and New York. I don't think those states can gerrymander any more than they have. What Texas is doing, actually, we're drawing districts to provide every voter in the state the opportunity to cast a vote for the party and candidate of their choice. 4 of the 5 districts we're drawing, they're going to be Hispanic districts. They happen to be Hispanic Republican districts. One is going to restore the Barbara Jordan district in Harris County, Texas. And so what Democrats are really concerned about, if you look under the hood, is the fact that Hispanics and even black voters are voting more for Republicans than they have for Democrats in the past. The results of President Trump's electoral victory prove that. You have a map up, and it's a map of districts. But the fact of the matter is, if you look at the map of the presidential election, you'll see all across the border counties, President Trump won those counties, which are heavily Hispanic counties. Hispanics now vote Republican, and Democrats are losing it because of that.
So, give me your first thoughts regarding that, Sabs, because Greg Abbott is basically saying that we have to redistrict these because it's to the benefit of Black and brown people. Since when do Republicans actually care about identity politics?
They don't, unless it's Israel. No, I mean, this is just them trying to cheat. Democrats do the same thing. And I'll show you after this story. I'll show you who's trying to do it now in response to Governor Abbott's actions. But the reality is, like, this is just another way for the GOP to get more votes. That's why parties redistrict, right? So things can work out in their favor. It's wrong. But you know what? They've been doing it. They've been doing it. I want to remind everybody, Dennis Kucinich was in Congress. You know, he was a congressman before he was working with RFK Jr.'s campaign. And Dennis Kucinich, the reason why he lost his seat in Congress is because they redrew the district so that they could get him out of there. So there should have been a law against this a long time ago. But the Democrats aren't going to push forward that law because they do it too. So that's the thing. And that's how you end up in the situation when you have a party that's not true opposition to the Republican Party, where they may disagree with them on some things, but they support them when it comes, they go along with the corruption. They go along with, the status quo and the corporatism and the military industrial complex. So that's how we got here. This is what I've been trying to tell people, that until the Democratic Party is willing to be a truly opposition party to the Republican Party, you continue to have these situations, these things happening. And the crazy thing about all this is now Governor Abbott, I'm sure we'll get to, is now saying that he wants to arrest the Democrats that left the state. So it's like, it's buffoonery politics. This is why people laugh at the U.S.
Yeah, definitely. So let's continue on in this.
Talk about the Democrats who have fled the state of Texas for a moment, Governor. On Sunday, you suggested they could, citing an attorney general opinion, be arrested and replaced for abandoning their office. Earlier today, I spoke to Representative Oliverson here in Texas, and he made me aware, which I was not aware, that some of the Democrats who are not showing up for a quorum are actually still here in the state. So is it the case that you could actually arrest those representatives and bring them back to Austin to establish a quorum?
So that is correct. And Will, as we're talking right now, Texas Department of Public Safety officers are on the streets looking for those Democrat House members to arrest them and to take them to the Texas Capitol and hold them there until a quorum is reached.
All right. And that may, I'm not sure how many, can you tell me how many different representatives that we're talking about are in the state of Texas? I believe you're 6 short right now of a quorum. Would that number bring you to a quorum?
So that's a fact that we don't know yet. We don't know which Democrats remain in the state who are not yet identified. We don't know exactly how many are out of state, but know this also, Will, and that is, the Texas Department of Public Safety is also working with officials in other states to find ways in which we can try to arrest the Texas Democrat members in other states and bring them back to the state of Texas.
Well, that was my next question I was going to ask you, Governor. Of course, Texas DPS would have limited powers to arrest anyone out of state. Most of these Democrats have fled the state for that express purpose. Representative Oliverson has said that both you and Attorney General Ken Paxton, though, have looked into whether or not they're funding these trips or fundraising off of these trips, which would amount to bribery. Would that open up the potential for you to go retrieve some of these representatives who have fled the state?
It opens up several opportunities. One, bribery in Texas is a felony. Felony is the type of offense that we can issue papers to have these Democrats brought back. Another thing, though, that the Democrats don't seem to know, and that is taking or receiving a payment like they have to escape or not take a vote subjects them to forfeiture of their seat. That's going to be one of the legal grounds you're going to see asserted here immediately to seek the vacation or elimination or abandonment of these House seats by the Democrats. So we will remove them from office and call for elections to replace them.
Well, why don't he just pretend like those payments came from Israel? Then they wouldn't do a damn thing about it.
Exactly. I mean, it's just like American politics has resorted to this, right? The whole redistricting thing, like this is absolutely, it's ridiculous. They shouldn't be allowed to redistrict at all. But there's no law against it. And that's why they can continue to do it. But this is crazy. Now we got people talking about arrest other people because they don't support this. I mean, look, I say kudos to the people who can hang with Governor Abbott there down in the Lone Star state of Texas, because I realize the cost of living is cheaper in Texas, but I couldn't live there. I could not live in like, it's just these laws that Governor Abbott has proposed, and not just this, but also the censorship laws that he has proposed. Like, I mean, it's just, what the hell is going on in Texas?
Fleeing. That's the best way I can put it. Oh man, let's finish this up.
What kind of timeline? You said immediately. My understanding is that is a legal process. It would have to be established by a judge. At least that's the opinion of the Attorney General, I believe, established in 2021. And that would require a judge to discern abandonment. So that seems like that could take some time.
So when I say immediately, I'm talking about when all the paperwork is going to be filed with the courts, which is going to be immediately. Secondly, there will be requests for immediate responses from these courts, knowing that they're dealing with an immediate timeline. You're a lawyer, you know, you can go into court and you can get a quick resolution for matters that have a short timetable. That's exactly what we're dealing with right here.
There's a lot of different elements to democracy. I'm just not sure when it became an acceptable element of democracy to flee the process in protest or deprive the democratically elected representatives of a majority vote. But several times now we've seen this play out in the state of Texas. So we'll be following along over the next couple of days. Thank you.
But also, isn't it anti-democratic to threaten politicians with arrest?
I mean, there's no, I don't feel like there are any checks and balances. And I think this is a big part of the problem. I just don't feel like you're seeing that at all. Like, and this is why, like, laws will change depending on whichever political party is in power. There's no checks and balances here.
Yeah. And, you know, as far as, you know, the deeper details, here's the article that was actually talking about this exact same story. Let me see. So it says Texas governor threatens arrest of Democrats absent at Monday redistricting vote. And so it says more than 50 Democrats from the Texas legislature staging a kind of temporary political exile in the Democrat-led states was intended to deny Republicans in Austin the quorum necessary to vote on a redistricting plan championed by Donald Trump. And so it continues here. It says, by redrawing district lines in hopes of flipping some seats in the U.S. House of Representatives currently held by Democrats, the Republican Party aims to protect this narrow majority in the next year's congressional midterm elections. So basically, this is not for democracy. This is for the Republican Party. Exactly.
Like, that's,
they always try to say, oh, it's for democracy. No, it's not.
Right. Because here's the thing, right? Like, people keep saying like Texas is purple or whatever. Like, there's certain, you know, Texas is kind of similar to some of the other states, right? Where if you get into the cities tend to be blue and the rural areas tend to be red or more red, right? So like Austin, Houston, Dallas, or like part of Dallas, like tends to be more blue. But then the rural area tends to be a little bit more red. And it just seems like, to me, Governor Abbott is they're trying to do this to, of course, help the Republican Party, Just like when Democrats do it, they do it to help the Democratic Party. And you got midterms coming up. Like, believe it or not, midterms are just around it's wild, but midterms are just around the corner.
Oh,
so
yeah.
there's a number of things that are happening here. But at the end of the day, like, there's nothing stopping him from doing it. And that's where I say, I feel like the checks and balances are just not happening. And as much as we talk about national politics, a big part of it is local. A big part of national politics is local politics. And like, there's so much focus on, the president and Congress that a lot of times people aren't paying attention to what is happening on the local level in some of these states. Like, this is crazy.
Yeah. Let's continue on in this article. It says, during Monday's State House session in Austin, the Speaker of the House in Texas issued civil warrants for the wayward Democrats, most of whom have gone to Illinois, New York, or Massachusetts to be brought back to Austin. So instead of putting them in jail, it's like, no, you're going to come back and you're going to vote on this, basically holding them hostage within the state house. It's crazy. And it's like, okay, we're going to force you to vote. But how can you force somebody to vote even if they're in the state house, if they don't say anything or if they don't do anything? Right.
Right. And they can also abstain from vote. Like, they can choose not to vote, right? Like, haven't we seen people do this before? So it's like, what are they trying to do?
Yeah.
Like, you can't make these people vote yes or no. They can choose not to vote at all. Yeah. And it just like, but honestly, at this point, like, well, what do you expect them to do?
It says, but the warrant only applies within the state. It says, and breaking quorum is not a crime that would allow Texas authorities to pursue extradition from other states. So apparently it's illegal to break quorum in Texas, but they can't be pursued outside of Texas for breaking quorum.
But see, that's what I was saying about some of those laws in Texas. Like, a lot of times it just comes down to the law in that particular state. I mean, it's just, this is absolutely insane.
Now, it continues, says Abbott cited an opinion by the state's attorney general that Texas district courts may determine whether legislators have forfeited their offices due to abandonment, saying that would empower him to swiftly fill vacancies. It says, but even if Abbott succeeded in ousting the absent Democrats, it would take time to hold new elections. And even if they actually did new elections this year, there's still the midterms next year.
Right. So, I mean, this is a way that the Texas Democrats that decided not to participate, this is their way of, I guess, resisting or fighting back against it. Because at this point, it's like they're trying to impose this on people. And it's just, who is supposed to check the governors, JB?
That's a good question. I mean, I thought that the legislator was supposed to check governors. I thought the legislator and really the courts, like the Supreme Courts of the state, the appellate courts, the Supreme Courts were supposed to be the ones that said, you know what? No, we're gonna put a check on the power of the governors. But if the governor has this much power, and plus he's basically a Trump crony, then of course he's going to try to do whatever he can because he wants to be in good graces with Trump. Maybe Abbott also has some presidential aspirations down the line too.
Could be. I don't know. I mean, it just, I don't know. I don't see people. I don't think Governor Abbott could become president. I really don't. Because even when it came to the abortion issue, even Trump was a little bit more lenient on that this time around than before, because he started to read the room about that. And Governor Abbott, of course, supported the stricter abortion laws in Texas. So I think that would be an issue. But I just, this should not be legal. This shouldn't be allowed at all.
Yeah.
But nobody is stopping it from happening. And that's why those politicians did what they did, because what else are they supposed to do?
So Gene Wu, chair of the Texas House Democratic Caucus, said that the current congressional districts in Texas already dilute the voting power of racial minorities in the state, and the new redistricting plan represented turbocharged racism. Abbott, in a Monday morning appearance on Fox News, called Wu's accusation bogus, saying that the redistricting would create more Hispanic majority districts. He argued that it would be necessary to give Trump voters in Democrat majority districts the ability to elect Republicans. But here's the thing. To me, like, the fairest thing would be to just make it into a grid. It's like, these lines are made into a grid, but the problem is that it would have to be done by an entity that does not have a skin in the game. I am willing to bet, just like I know a lot of people don't like AI, but I would say have AI draw the districts with no influence of either side of the other, and let it be where it is.
Yeah, because I mean, like, it's done to their benefit. Like, that's really how they do it. They do it to their benefit. What's going to help them? And this has been an issue for a long time. We talked about it before. We talked about how this happened to Jamal Bowman not too long ago. Remember, we brought that up, that they redrew his district. When they want you out, this is what they do. Like, and it's just, that's insane. So it's just like the vote of the people, what the people want. They're just like, screw that. We don't want you there. So we're just going to redraw the district. So let's just get you out of there.
Yeah. Now, here's the thing. Well, I'll put fire under the Democrats. So he says, this is the last part of the article. It says Texas Democrat lawmakers have previously tried the strategy of leaving the state to block a redistricting plan. Some fled in 2021 in a bid to deny Abbott the quorum needed to pass a voting restriction measure. It says that bill passed after 3 lawmakers returned, saying they had achieved their goal of bringing national attention to the issue. What goal if you brought national attention to it, but then you still failed? And that's my thing with Democrats, right? It's like, you guys do that. Like, let me be real. This leaving the state over a quorum is theater. That's what I think. It's theater. Because they're going to go back, they're going to do the quorum, it's going to get redistricted, and then guess what? The Republicans are going to get control the way they want it, and the Democrats are going to fundraise off that and make more money off of that, so you donate to their Act Blue, and then they can say, oh my God, the Republicans did this horrible thing. We tried.
But again, like I said, like, who is supposed to, there's nobody to check them. Who is supposed to come in and check Governor Abbott, though? That's the problem. It's just like and we talked about this before, it's like, there's all these laws that are being implemented in Texas. And then, of course, the governor just signs off on it. And like, nobody comes in to say, no, this is wrong. Or no, this is unconstitutional. So that's what I'm saying. Like, nobody is checking him. And that's why he's doing what he's doing. I don't understand how people voted for Governor Abbott, to be honest with you. I don't get it. I get it. Beto wasn't great, but I don't understand how Governor Abbott won. Like, to me, it's like, and we'll have to see when the next election is, or if he's going to run for re-election. But something has to be done there, because people have lost so much under his leadership. Yeah.
Did you want to add, were you going to talk about a specific story after this too? Because I also have another article that I want to share, but I wanted you to go ahead with what you were going to show.
Well, it's connected. Roger Meadows, friend of the show, sent this to me, because now, let me just share my screen really quick here. Now what is happening? Now, everybody check this out. So now in New York, now Governor Hochul is threatening to redistrict, right? So it says, good government group. I know, this is her response to Governor Abbott. Good government groups fire back at Hochul over redistricting after she tells them politics is a political process. Now, it goes on to say, as they fend off criticism from good government groups over the potential constitutional amendment to allow mid-decade redistricting in response to a Donald Trump-backed effort in Texas, New York Democrats pulled out the one-liners. With all due respect to the government groups, politics isn't a political process. That's coming from Kathy Hochul. In politics, there's no such thing as nonpartisan. That's Assembly Speaker Carl Heastie. And then it goes on to say here, Democrats in the Empire State are pushing the amendment out of fear that the mid-decade redraw in Texas, one which sent Democratic Texas state lawmakers fleeing to New York and other states to prevent a special session vote, will help Trump retain and galvanize his now slim Republican House majority in 2026. That is an outcome they insist is a significant threat to democracy. So now, this is another thing. And let me just go down a little bit here. While they both noted that they understand why Democrats would be concerned, tit for tatting other states over congressional lines ignores the fact that the idea of apportionment is not inherently partisan. So Governor Hochul is against what Governor Abbott is doing, but her response to what Governor Abbott is doing is to, well, we can just redistrict in New York, which they've been doing. They've been doing. How is that the correct response?
Two wrongs don't make it right. And that's the crazy part. And they're trying to do wrong to try to correct the wrong.
It says here that they argue that even if the state's current mechanism for drawing lines doesn't live up to it, ideally, an independent body should be in charge of protecting one person, one vote, which is intended to ensure that individuals throughout a state have roughly the same voting power as someone in a different area of the same state. Goes on to say here, Horner likewise not taking kindly to the argument that if Republicans don't play fair, Democrats shouldn't have to either. Texas and maybe other red states are under pressure from the president to rig their elections to help Republicans get elected, he said. It's understandable why Democrats would hate that idea, but we believe that redistricting is about the public, not about political parties. So again, like, this isn't the correct response to that. So they're
doing it for their political party.
It's embarrassing. It's honestly embarrassing. And that's why I tell people, it's just like, I don't know, man. I don't know. Because she called him out. Well, Governor Hochul, she called him out. She said, Governor Abbott, what he's doing is wrong. What he's doing is wrong, but now you want to do the same thing to counter.
Doing the wrong thing to teach them a lesson, even though they're doing exactly the same thing that they just did.
But they've been doing it. They've been redrawing lines, et cetera. Like, it just, to try to make things go their way politically, they just redraw the lines so that maybe that can't. This is what they did to Jamal Bowman. Redraw his district so maybe we can get him out of there. Mm-hmm. I mean, so they've been doing it. Both of them have been doing it, and it's wrong. And there should be a law against that. Stop them from redrawing these districts.
Yep.
Like it's like I said before, it's cheating.
It is. It's moving the goalposts, right? So let me share this because it's getting a little bit worse for the Democrats. This came out a few hours ago. Tester redistricting feud escalates as Democrats face bomb and FBI threats. So that's, of course, John Cornyn. It says dispute over a plan to redraw electoral boundaries in the U.S. state of Texas has escalated again after a senator said the Federal Bureau of Investigation had agreed to help find Democrats who have fled the state. The FBI would not confirm whether they agreed to help, and the senator, Republican John Cornyn of Texas, did not specify what kind of assistance the FBI would offer. It comes a day after some Democrats were forced to evacuate a hotel where they were staying in Illinois as they protest Republicans' efforts to change the map of congressional districts. It says U.S. President earlier this week, U.S. President Donald Trump said that the FBI may have to get involved. Cornyn said that the statement that the FBI Director Kash Patel had approved my request for the FBI to assist state and local law enforcement in locating runaway Texas House Democrats. So basically, he's getting the feds, the federal police, to help.
But see, this is what I'm talking about. Like, this is a waste of, I would say, a misuse of resources, right? Shouldn't the FBI be utilizing their time to try to catch like serial killers? Why are they using the FBI to go after Democrats that left the state?
Yeah. It says on Tuesday, let me see. Oh, it says it's not clear whether federal authorities were already involved in the search for more than 50 state lawmakers who have left Texas. The location of many of them is well known. On Tuesday, they held a press conference at a Chicago area hotel decrying the gerrymandering attempt. The escalation comes one day after a bomb threat was called into a hotel where some of the Democrats were staying.
Oh my God. This is crazy.
It
So do you
is,
guys see, like, this red blue game has us really like, it has, like, this country is so screwed up over red and blue.
Yeah. And then Trump has said, he said basically that the FBI may have to start getting involved. And says it almost looks like Democrats have abandoned the state. Says, I know they want them back. Not only the attorney general, the governor wants them back. So a lot of people have demanded they come back. You can't just sit it out. You have to go back. You have to fight it out. That's what elections are all about. And so for the quorum, it says at least 2/3 of the 150 member state legislative body in Texas must be present to proceed with the vote. The quorum is unreachable while they're out of the state. Texas Democrats have said state's governor and Republicans are trying to silence them. So it said Gene Wu, chairman of the Texas Democratic Caucus, accused Greg Abbott of seeking to silence my dissent by removing a duly elected official from office, and argued my constitutional duty is to not be a willing participant. So now the FBI is about to get involved. And
again, yeah, just a waste of time and a waste of resources.
Complete waste.
I mean, because
how many millions of dollars is that costing us?
But what do you expect them to do? Like this, I don't know. Like, to me, it's just. So here's the thing: do people want them to fight, or do they not want them to fight?
Yeah. And my question is, what if Republicans did this in a Democrat state, in a blue state?
They would have been totally on board with it. That's the thing. It's all partisan. As much as they tried to say in that article, the earlier one, that it's not partisan, it is 100% partisan. That's what this is really all about. And they're trying to, basically what it is they're trying to make sure that Republicans hold on to the House. Yeah. Because, like I said, midterms are just around the corner. Anything could happen there. But they're trying to make sure that Republicans hold on to the House. Now, even if Democrats get back the House, Republicans still have the Senate. So even if you pass something in the House, if the Senate doesn't approve, then it still doesn't go through anyway. But that's what this is really about. And this is why I keep telling people, when we tell people, it's so rigged, the way they go about doing things.
Yeah, absolutely. And so with that, I also want to share this, because make no mistake, right? The Democrats, they are fleeing, and they're saying that they're fighting for for democracy, to make sure that things are, going, they're dotting the I's and crossing the T's for the people when it comes to making sure that there's a fair voice, that everybody has a voice. But the Democrats are full of shit. I'm going to show you why. Let's go back 5 years. Back in 2020. Let's share this. This is out of the Texas Tribune. This is what the Democrats did. Texas Democrats are successfully suing to kick Green Party candidates off the November ballot. Democrats won legal rulings Wednesday blocking Green Party nominees for U.S. Senate, Railroad Commissioner, and the 21st Congressional District from appearing on November ballot. This came out on August 19th, 2020, almost 5 years ago.
Yep.
And so when people talk about, oh, Democrats are trying to fight for the people, no, the hell they're not. Because if they were trying to fight for democracy, they'd be open and willing to allow third parties as well to come in so that people can actually have a choice. But the Democrats don't care about choice either. This is one of the reasons why I say this is performative, because they're willing, they cry when the Republicans do something as far as gerrymandering, but they don't want nobody to cry to them when they try to block Green Party members or third party candidates from getting on the ballot.
Or other Democrat candidates.
Especially
Okay.
when they're to their left.
Or other Democrat candidates. That's the thing. We just saw, I'm going to talk about it later on tonight. Andrew Cuomo working with Donald Trump. This is what we told people before. They would rather have Trump there. As much as they cry about Trump, they would rather have Trump there than to have somebody to their left in that position. Someone that's going to do something for the people.
Remember back in 2019, there was an article that came out. It was in January of 2019, where a whole bunch of Democrats convened in New York to have a meeting of how to stop Bernie Sanders. You remember that?
Oh, I remember.
Nancy Pelosi was there. Pete Buttigieg was there. A number of top Democrats were there because they were on a mission to stop Bernie Sanders. Any of you who are still voting for the Democrats or Republicans, I'm going to tell you this. Number one, we already know they don't care about us. But two, neither of those parties care about democracy at all, especially if there's somebody that's running that actually wants to do tangible, concrete, material gains for the people. Their job is to keep that from happening so that you think you're only presented with two choices, and then out of those two choices, they make it look like they're fighting. The Republicans and Democrats play fight. Just like when you used to do when you play cousin, that's exactly what they're doing. It's not serious, because at the end of the day, guess what? When mama says dinner's ready, they sit at the same table together.
Not only that, but if you talk to some of the people that have worked in DC, they'll tell you that a lot of these people in real life are buddies. A lot of this is for the cameras. It's for show. A lot of it is for show. And at the end of the day, a lot of these people, they can all go to the same country club, stuff like that. Now, granted, they may disagree on policy. That part is real. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, they're there to maintain and protect the status quo. They're not there for any type of radical politics that's going to benefit the working class people, the American people. Everybody should have learned this lesson when Bernie said, "My good friend Joe Biden." That he meant that is his friend. Mm-hmm. A lot of these people, they all kind of cool with each other. Maybe not all of them, but it's not what you think. And if you talk to people that have worked on Capitol Hill, they'll tell you in real life, these people, they might go to lunch together. They might go chill together. It's very different, because at the end of the day, I think some of them are just there for the perks. I think some of them are there for the perks of, you get the book deal. If you're there for at least 5 years in Congress, you get a pension for the rest of your life.
rest of your life.
We don't get the type of health insurance that they get.
5 years of work and you get a pension for the rest of your life. Who else gets that?
Right. Let me know, okay? Because most of the jobs that I know about don't even offer a pension, period.
Mhm.
So that, I think a lot of them are there for the benefits. And then also I do feel like in the past couple of years, there has been this like celebrification in politics where it's
Yeah.
almost like some of these people are people that they're like pseudo celebrities. And it's almost like that's what they really want to be. Like they don't want to be an actor or a musician, but they want to be like a celebrity politician. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's part of it too. And so it's like, I don't know, man. Like, I just don't think most of those people there are really there to fight. And I do know a couple of people that did work in DC, one in particular that worked on Capitol Hill as a staffer. And she made it very clear to me. She said, a lot of the stuff that you guys are seeing is a joke. It's all about making sure that things don't really change for the people that are not a part of the middle class, which is very, the majority, because the middle class continues to shrink. It's a lot of it is a facade. It's just like they are there to make sure that the status quo stays in place and that we do not move in the direction for the people. And both parties do that. So at the end of the day, it's like, and I was always wondered, like, I wonder, like, one day it might be great just to walk around and hang around outside the Capitol building or whatever and just see who talking to who.
Mm-hmm. You know, what's more entertaining than As the World Turns, The Young and the Restless, General Hospital? You want to know what's more entertaining than that? Watching the Democrats and Republicans fight. Because at the end of the day, when the cameras come off and the mics are no longer hot, well, they're sitting around having lunch together at some country club.
And also I feel like because of the rise of social media, that helps them continue that type of, because think about how politics was before social media. Like we didn't know all this stuff about these people, right? Like, but now, like because of social media, they have a presence on social media. Some people see them as influencers. Like I don't know, man. I just feel like American politics at this point is a joke.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like there's nobody that's really checking the people who are making some of these decisions. And the reality is the people who end up suffering are the voters and the non-voters. Those of us that don't work in Congress, those of us that are not on Capitol Hill.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure some of these staffers could probably tell some interesting stories. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Boy, some juicy stories make you want to get out your popcorn, extra butter. And this is why we talk about, leaving both parties. And ultimately, when I look at what's going on with people like Greg Abbott, of course, I just covered on my show, on my channel on Tuesday, how the mayor of Orange County, the mayor where I live, he signed an ICE agreement because he said he was under threat by Ron DeSantis, that him and all the county commissioners will be kicked out of office by the governor if he doesn't sign. And so it's like, okay, so do we have a democracy or not? I argue that we don't. Have we ever really truly had a democracy? I don't think so, because ultimately it's always for show. Like, for instance, why do we still have the Electoral College? Shouldn't it be for who's the most popular? I I thought it was one person, one vote. Who the hell are these electors?
But you're not really voting for the politician. You're voting for an elector. Like that's really what it is. Like, even if you look on the ballot, it says the electors of. So that's really what you're voting for when you mark your vote, like, on the ballot. But the real reason behind it, well, back in the day, was it was supposed to give the slave states some type of leveled playing field or something like that. Back in the day, that was the whole reason for it. People have argued back and forth. Do we still need it today? I would say no.
No.
But I don't think that's going to change anything. They don't want to go by. They don't want us to have the popular vote. Because that's really the will of the people. Because if the people come out like that, they're telling you, like, this is the person that we really want. They don't want us to have that.
Yep. And issue for issue, if you were to give people the power, they would go left, further left. Because the thing is, like, ultimately, government is supposed to be there to serve the people. I know a lot of people, especially conservatives, go, well, we just need to get government out of the way. It's like, okay, government needs to get out of the way until, oh, well, who's going to fix this pothole? Government needs to get out of the way until, oh, well, my family member was poisoned by such and such, and so who's going to answer for this? Government needs to get out of the way until, oh, man, the airbag in my car blew up in my face, and now I have these shards of metal in my face.
Well,
it's like, the thing is like, the problem isn't necessarily government, it's who's running it. And I reference this because God bless Roger Meadows. One of the best analogies he ever gave was government is like a hammer. You can use it to build or you can use it to destroy. Either way, it is a tool. And so therefore, when people use it in a way, if you give a hammer to an axe murderer, guess what the hell they're going to do with that hammer?
Think about it. Think about it.
So this is why. And then look, some people got, because here's the thing, Ronald Reagan, as well as the Democrats, they did a twofold thing. They basically demonized government both. Because people will think, oh, well, the Democrats don't demonize government. Yes, they do. They help the Republicans. So Ronald Reagan was like, oh, government is the problem. And then the Democrats, instead of saying, yeah, government's the problem, guess what they do? They sabotage it by being ineffective so that it reinforces the idea that government is the problem. When in reality, it's not necessarily government being the problem. It's the problem of who is wielding it. And it's not you or me, right? It's the corporations. This is why a systemic change needs to happen. Capitalism needs to be burned to the ground. That's all that needs to happen. Because the thing is, like, if you have a system that's built on exploitation, right? Reforming the system is still built on exploitation. This is why I made a tweet earlier. I think it was either today or yesterday. People were talking about, remember everyone was talking about UBI, like it's like the best thing since sliced bread. And I was like, UBI is really just a reform within the capitalist system where it can still be chipped away by the capitalists. It doesn't make any sense. It's still going to, like, what are they doing with Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security right now?
I mean, this is what I'll say. I just think that the money, the corporate money is a big part of the problem. And you were talking about democracy. Did we have democracy when all those people voted for Bernie in 2016 in the Dem primary and the DNC decided to give those states to Hillary Clinton anyway?
Yep. That happened in West Virginia.
They already choose and decide who they want.
Yeah.
Not just, I mean, West Virginia is one of them, but there were several states that Bernie got more votes than Hillary, and they gave it to her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Even Michael Moore, he talked about it in that documentary. I think it was Sicko. I think it was the Sicko documentary. I forget which one, but he talked about that.
Yeah. I also recommend all of you to watch the interview that Sabby had with the Becks, who were the attorneys for the DNC fraud lawsuit. That is a very eye-opening interview. By the way, you did an amazing job on that. But I think it is important for people to see that, because people need to realize that the DNC and the RNC are private institutions. They are not public bureaucracies. So therefore, they do not have a constitutional duty to you or me. They don't. They're private.
No, they don't. And I mean, the best thing I can say is this, kudos and shout out to the Becks. They walked away from all of this after, fighting that DNC, fraud lawsuit. They walked away from all of it because they said, we don't want anything to do with this political space again. They did that interview with me. I think that they said that was going to be it for them, because they fought, and they fought for the people, and unfortunately, and Nico was a big part of that. To make sure that the people who gave Bernie those small dollar donations, the Becks were fighting to make sure that those people would get their money back, because the DNC cheated. And of course, the federal judge ruled that the DNC is a private corporation and they can pick whoever they want.
Yep.
So again, like when people say democracy, we don't have a true democracy in this country.
No. Mm-mm. And this is why we do what we do. This is why we talk about doing mutual aid, building dual power, making sure that we have class solidarity with each other. And I'll add to that is class solidarity also means whatever type of thoughts we had of different groups that keep us separate, you have to get rid of those bigoted thoughts. Because the problem is that if you hold on to some of those thoughts that, oh, well, this group is like that and that group is like that, and I'm talking about within our class, well, you're basically going to be keeping us divided. And, the problem I see a lot of times is, issues like white supremacy that people will cling on to. And sometimes some of these people don't think that they have a white supremacist bone in their body. And it's like, until it gets pointed out. And so this is why we always talk about, you have to, divorce yourself from those beliefs and start to have solidarity with people who you may have some semblance of microaggressions that you need to get through, or some semblance of, prejudices that you have to work through. And we all have them, but you have to work through it and get past it, because that's the only way we're going to be able to actually move together, because we can't get rid of the system, individually. It takes collective action.
Yeah. And that's something that, the Black Panthers talked about. That's something Fred Hampton was about. Like before he organized with the Young Patriots, Young Lords, excuse me, and the Patriots as well. Like he told them, actually the Patriots, he told them they had to renounce the racism. Like we can collaborate for a class movement, but you gotta the racism gotta go. Now, did everybody agree with that? No. Some people that were part of the Young Patriots didn't agree with it and they left. Some people that were part of the Black Panthers didn't agree with it and they left.
Yeah.
Did not agree with that collaboration at all. But at the end of the day, the ones who wanted to collaborate, they decided, okay, we have to denounce the racism so that we can work together for the class issue. And that is something that it cannot be said enough. Like when people tell you, oh, just go work with this racist person. And that is one thing I will not do. And I've been very clear about that from day one. No, I'm not trying to line myself or work side by side with no one who doesn't even respect me for who I am because of the color of my skin.
Yeah.
You're going to have to put that aside.
Yeah. Or doesn't think that we should exist within this country.
Yeah, I mean,
If you don't think that we should exist, then we're not going to collaborate with somebody who we feel our lives are threatened by, or who somebody we think that when things really go down, you're going to turn against us, and next thing you know, you throw us under the bus.
and it happens. And
Yeah.
you can look through history and we've seen it happen. That's the thing. That's why you can't just be organizing with just anybody. Like somebody who wants you dead. That's the part about that. And it's always those of us that are marginalized. We're always the ones that are asked to what is it, JB? We're always the ones that are asked to compromise.
Mm-hmm.
Just forget they're racist bigots and just work with them anyway. But they're never asking the other people to compromise. You ever notice that?
No, and I'm going to say this, and some people are going to get mad at me for this. It is what it is. But those of you who have family members that either may be white and have white supremacist proclivities, those of you who have family members that may have some anti-queer proclivities or some ableist proclivities, you need to confront your family members. Y'all need to talk to them. Because quiet as it's kept, it's number one, it's not our duty to do it. Number one. Number two, instead of alienating yourself from them, actually move them into the direction that would help them and us to be able to come together. Because the thing is, like, if you're sitting there going, well, I don't want to talk to them because they're this way. I was like, okay, well, they're definitely not going to listen to us. So how are you going to change their heart? The thing is, like, this is one of the reasons why RBN exists, so that other people can watch us and listen to what we say from a Black perspective. Why the hell do you think RBN exists? Because why do you think it's called Revolutionary Blackout? Because the thing is, it's like, hold up. If you look at the independent media space, how many of us are there that are Black on the left?
Not many. Oh, you mean on
Maybe
YouTube?
you can count
on YouTube, not many.
Yeah, maybe on one hand you can count maybe 3 or 4, maybe 5. But outside of that, that's it. And so the thing is, like, ultimately, like, in order for us to really actually come together, you have to come with the view of, I have to do my part. And part of that is, if there is a part of the system that has some type of supremacy, like, for instance, white supremacy, well, what are you doing to help dismantle that? Right?
I don't know. I just think that this whole issue with Texas, it's not, and that's the thing, like, the Texas story is getting a lot of the attention right now, but it's not just Texas. It doesn't just happen in Texas. I wish it was national news every time it did happen, but it's not. And I think we need to ask questions about that as well. But the reality is that Governor Abbott is doing what he's doing because there's no one that is coming to check him. There's no one telling him, no, you cannot do that. And that's happened under both administrations. It happened because people forget, it's happening under Trump. It also happened under Biden's administration. Remember when he was sending, and he might still be doing this. Remember when he was sending buses from Texas, he was sending migrants to other states?
Mm-hmm.
That started under Biden's presidency.
Mm-hmm.
Did Biden come in and tell him he couldn't do that? Did he stop him from doing that? No. That's what I'm saying. Nobody is checking him.
Yeah. Like, can he be recalled? You know what I mean? Like, who's there to actually check him? And it's like, by the time there's another election, it may be too late.
Ron DeSantis is in a similar situation too. I feel like he doesn't get checked either.
No, he doesn't. No. And the fact is that he has basically the entire state of Florida government. He has the state house and the Senate. So who's going to check him? There's no check. There's no balances. So I honestly think that, This is why we talk about doing mutual aid, building dual power. I mean, if you live in a ballot initiative state, try to do some ballot initiatives that you can, to try to circumvent these politicians. But unfortunately, there's even then, these politicians will try to hamstring the ballot initiatives that you do. Like, look what they did in Florida when we said yes, as citizens, to give former felons the right to vote back. Then they threw a monkey wrench in that.
Yeah, that's the thing, and it's one of those things like we can protest against these things that are happening, but ultimately, like I can't stop my governor from passing these laws. You know what I mean? So it's like that's where building dual power comes in. That's where, like, JB and I do mutual aid. That's where the mutual aid comes in. When we talk about people that lose their jobs and all those strikes that we've covered over the years, there's been a number of them, a lot of the labor strikes. How do you guys think they go on strike if they don't have mutual aid? They have to have mutual aid to go on strike. And that's just one part of it. But until we build dual power systems, we're going to keep running into these issues, and there's going to be a lot of frustration, just like what's happening right now with the NYC mayor race with Zora Mandami. Everything that's happening right now, it's not just Democrat leadership not wanting to support him. It's also Donald Trump trying to work along with Andrew Cuomo to try to fix, this is why I say, like, and this is why a lot of times people get frustrated. They're like, what are we supposed to do? Like, we keep playing this game and nothing's changing. And that's why I'm saying, like, you have to build dual power. And I wish this is something that I knew about years ago, like building those dual power like systems, because I felt the same way. Like, after they cheated Bernie 2016, then Obama and them 2020, I just felt really down. Like, I just felt like, what was it all for? What did we organize for? What was all that? What was all that about? What was it all for? So that's the thing. And then remember, elections come and go. Elections come and go. What are you doing in between?
Absolutely. Go ahead and give a like to the stream. Thank you so very much to everybody for tuning in. We're going to be going to the chat in a little bit to see what you guys thought and give your thoughts on this. Do you think what Greg Abbott what he's doing is correct, is the right way to go? Do you think that he's going about it the right way? Do you think that we still live in a democracy? Do you think Texas is a democracy? Let us know in the comments what you think. Also, even if you're watching this on the rewatch, go into the comment section. Let us know what you think as well. Thank you very much for that. Before we get into that, because we're talking about building dual power, we're talking about democracy. Well, we want to democratize power in this country, and we try to do it through mutual aid. And so you guys actually help us out with that. And this is why